meditate on this. The subconscious mind is like a black hole. It's a vacuum. It pulls in everything that crosses its path. The portals or gateways to the subconscious mind exist on the human body, in the human body. Some of them are called ears, some of them are called eyes. And you can receive certain signals and things and messages, etc., through these senses, through these tools for senses, sight, hearing, etc. But no matter what you do, no matter what you put in front of your ears, no matter what you put in front of your eyes, just understand that the subconscious mind is going to receive that and it's going to be embedded within you in perpetuity. It's going to be with you forever. And the people in power know this. The ruling class know this, and they do a damn good job of putting things in there that are not going to lead to quality of thought. It's important that you take control of this and try to embed things with high quality of thought into your subconscious mind, so that when they come back to the surface, when they come back, they pop out on the other side, they're fruitful. The things that are good for you, things that lead to quality of thought. So try to embed good things in your subconscious mind. Now that we know we have to program the subconscious mind, do that consciously, the next question becomes, with what? I believe we need to start with music. Music is very natural. Everybody loves music. They're even treating dementia with music, because music can take you to the past, bring you to memories, the vibe. Everything is just seems to come into focus clearly. It's easily visualized when you put music and have a soundtrack to your life. And so what type of music do we listen to? You know, it's part of our daily ritual. It's part of our daily dealings in programming the subconscious mind. The type of music we listen to is very important. And think about quality of thought. Is your music going to nurture the idea of quality of thought? Or is it ratchet? Is it supremely ghetto? Is it trash? Or is it breathing life into you? Right? It's the difference between listening to, something that's promoting death as to something that's promoting life. Looking at some of the neurological effects that happen when you listen to certain types of music, nourishing the brain with that type of music. The TV shows you watch, the movies you watch. What type of shows do you watch, and how are you inspired by them? What are the images that are being implanted in your subconscious mind from the movies and TV and the media that you watch, from the things you watch on YouTube, etc., etc. If you look at one of those controversial stories about TikTok, I said that Chinese people, or the Chinese Communist Party, whatever, has a different algorithm than the one for the Western nations. The one in the Western nations, the kids are watching videos that go viral, doing pranks and all types of silly stuff. And China's algorithm is showing kids completing puzzles and doing math. These are the things they're promoting because they understand the programming of the subconscious mind is very important for the future of your people and where they're going. So with that same concept in mind, what type of media are you always being influenced by? What type of media do you constantly force yourself to be influenced by? What if we saw images of love all the time instead of images of destruction, war, etc., etc.?
What type of media is Hotep Jesus influenced by?
I like the old stuff. I like the classics. Mostly written work, literature. That's the type of stuff I listen to. I listen to a lot of lectures. One of my favorite lecturers is John Henrik Clarke, Dr. Kaba Kamene. Those are like two of my faves. I like listening to scholarly work, scholarly teachers. I go to bed to to chess videos, but I also need some gangster in my life. You know, I'm not perfect, but I need some, you know, I need some cartel gang member, you know, type programming. This is, you know, that's the stuff I happen to like. You know, I like violent movies. I like heists. I like heist movies, like The Italian Job and Ocean's 11 and, you know, those types of things. I like military movies. Like, I thought the new Top Gun was amazing. But I also try to be conscious of what I'm seeing, and so, you know, what's clear is we're gonna come across some content that is not going to nurture quality or high quality of thought. So what we have to do is we have to wrap this stuff with labels. So what you can do is when an image appears before your subconscious mind, what we can do is we can frame it. So when it gets embedded and it gets stored within your mental hard drive, it's filed in a folder, you know, marked bad, marked good, marked to question, marked, you know, you can label these things. So sometimes when things come into our subconscious mind, we don't frame it, we don't put a label on it. I think we have to say, okay, if I'm watching a movie and they're murdering people, let's say for instance, as we're watching this, we got to label that bad. This is bad. This is no bueno, right? And even some labels that your personal opinion might weigh in on, and how you manage this stuff logically. So even though everything's going to be received by your subconscious mind, and some things you may enjoy, some pieces of content you may enjoy, it's very important to frame that stuff and label that stuff. So when it gets into your subconscious mind knows, okay, this is this and this is that. So it knows clear difference. It's not just sitting there to be sprouted later on in the wrong manner or intent. What is your receptivity? Are you receiving the signals, or are you only transmitting them? You have to tune your inner radio to receive messages, not only send them. Sometimes we get caught up with our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is constantly sending signals out to the universe, to God, to friends, family, etc., etc. But sometimes you have to reset yourself and come back to zero and just say, I'm not intending to send any messages, I'm intending to receive them. I call it no mind. I've spoken about this in the past. And we want to open up the mind, enter a state of receptivity, to receive the signals, to be imbued by God. Messages, prescient visualizations, to be omniscient. All these things are made possible by entering a receptive state, by dismissing the world and all of its physicalness, dismissing the world and all of its 3D-ness, dismissing the matrix, forgetting you are of this physical dimension. Dismissing all of that, obviously easier said than done, but moving away from all of these things, dismissing them from their mind. And the easiest way to do that is to actually distract yourself. You have to distract yourself with the senses. It's much easier to enter a state of receptivity when you're out here and you have the breeze blowing against your skin. That's easy to meditate on. When you have the waves you can look at, the seagulls.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
I got Vivek sexuals all in my mentions, crying because I had the nerve to criticize their alleged savior. The Grift Report starts now.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, what do you think you are, some kind of Hotep Jesus?
Ooh,
and
that's
I was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
What's up, people? Welcome to the Grift Report. I'm your host, Hotep Jesus, the Grift God.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
It's Hotep Thursday. What's up, people? How y'all feeling? Disclaimer, this stream contains adult humor and was created strictly for comedic and artistic purposes. No offense is intended toward any private individuals featured in this video. Gotta cover my ass, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers get the attorney bug out this mob. Let me check on my chatters, see what's going on with my chatters, my chitter chatters. What up, chatters? Vivek Salami. Vilmar, what up, man? Big Poppy in the house. Pause. HJ, what's the phone number? 202-596-5631. Text Hotep in your name to 202-596-5631. All right. If you want to get on the phone calls, starts around 3 p.m. What up, Emmanuel? Emmanuel in the house. Dante Nero wants to know, are there any Gen Z Hoteps out there? Shout out to my Gen Z Hoteps. Shout out to K. Interstellar, what up, bro? Griff got on deck, you already know. I saw somebody arguing today with Goldstein on Twitter. He had the nerve to question Goldstein. And the only thing I could think to myself was, this dude must not watch the Grift Report. And that's a shame. If you got Hotep in your name, if you consider yourself a Hotep, and you not watching the programming, you just checking for us on Twitter, you are not even getting 5% of what you need to get when you come to the Hoteps. Not even 5%. Disgusting. It makes my stomach turn. Anyways, you already know, we get into the headline story today. You know, what most programs do is they usually hold you hostage and then they talk about the story of the day at the end so that the viewers stay longer. Fuck y'all. If y'all want to go, you can go. We're going to go right into the headline story, and then we're going to get into some ratchet shenanigans of the internet. I think Megyn Kelly came down with autoimmune disease following a vaccination. So we're going to look at that and some other ratchet stuff hanging around in the Grift bag. But we're going to start off right away with Anomaly versus Vivek. Now, yesterday was the day that they had this conversation, and I didn't watch it live, mostly because I just didn't give a fuck, you know? And I'll tell you why. It's just because Vivek comes off like a con artist, a professional con artist. And Anomaly's not equipped to handle something like that. He's just not equipped to handle a professional, seemingly con artist. So I didn't really have much hope that Anomaly would be able to pin this guy in a corner, which I know Anomaly was going to try and do. Right? But you know, Anomaly's got all types of receipts on Vivek. But I didn't think any of this stuff would stick, mostly because Vivek he's a slithering shapeshifter. His team's got all this stuff figured out. But this morning I watched it because yesterday people were tagging me on Twitter, Hotep, watched the debate. You know, I think some people in the chat yesterday mentioned something about, hey, you're going to watch it. So I watched it this morning. It was about 30 minutes long or something like that. And I saw all I needed to see, and my assumptions were correct. So here's Anomaly's post-debate post-interview statement. He said, I'm sorry. Let's just read this. Let's just read this before I lose my mind. All right, he says, I gave one of the only journalistic hard-hitting interviews of the year to a Republican candidate from the right and asked the questions everyone else refused to ask. Now, hard-hitting is something I would not call this interview. His interview definitely was not hard-hitting. But it did ask the questions everyone else refused to ask. He's right. That did happen. Now they're trying to make it so no candidate will ever come on my platform again. Narrative control. Yeah. Anomaly's got, I mean, the left is trying to cancel him and, like, you know, call him an anti-Semite and all types of things like that. I don't think he's that. Although he do got some side quests. He got to do for some of them tweets. Here's somebody replies and goes, great interview, and I think Vivek did well. This is why I refuse to interview Vivek. I refuse to interview him. It's a huge waste of my time. The only thing it would be good for is clicks, and I think that's what Anomaly got out of this is clicks. Maybe some subscribers. Some people never heard of him before. So other than grifting off of Vivek, it's pretty much useless having a conversation with him. You can't have a conversation with a professional, seemingly con artist. You just can't do that. It's just not possible. You're just going to get a bunch of bullshit responses. So the guy says, did he sway you at all? I got to pray over this fella. Alhamdulillah. Are you open to learning more about him? You know, every time I get hope for humanity, somebody says some shit like this. And it's just like what? Like what? So I'm only going to play one clip from the interview. So let me just tell you my litmus test for knowing if an interview was good or not. Usually if an interview was good, somewhere within the 24-hour time period after the close of that interview, there are going to be clips circulating, some viral clips. From this interview, nothing circulated. So I knew yesterday, post-interview, because I hadn't seen any clips, because nothing trended, that An0maly probably couldn't pin anything on Vivek quite well, which I didn't think was possible. I don't think anybody can. Nobody can really corner Vivek. You can't corner a slithering lizard. It's going to slither out the corner. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to slither. You cannot pin Vivek in a corner because he's a professional slitherer, which is why I won't interview him, because he's just going to slither. Now, I will say this about Vivek. There are conversations he can't slither out of, and that's one with Sonny Johnson.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
See, he took An0maly, but he won't take Sonny Johnson. Okay, so let's talk about that before we pull up the An0maly clip. Why did he take the An0maly interview and not the Sonny Johnson interview? Well, because all of the homework is laid out for him. All you had to do, all him and his team had to do was go on Twitter, take legendary energy, at legendary energy, put it with Vivek, and see all the tweets that he made about Vivek. Then him and his team put together a list of rebuttals, and you enter the debate based upon preconceived questions. You already knew, Vivek knew exactly what was coming at him when he interviewed An0maly. Also, they controlled the time restraint. It was supposed to be like 30 minutes or something. I think they went to 50 minutes or something like that. So they also control the time limit so that you can't really pin somebody down in a conversation, because there's so much groundwork that needs to be laid out in the first 30 minutes of a conversation, sometimes before you really get into the meat of the conversation. And this was like the problem with HotepCon. We were having these conversations with really big minds like Tanai, and like an hour in, it's over, but like we had just got started, you know? So next year, we're going to do much longer talks with Tanai and Rook and Sonny and the ex-con. We're going to do an ex-con panel. So point being, with the time controls, you can't pin him in a corner because he's going to spend so much time running his mouth. You'll never really be able to pin him in a corner. So what's the difference between An0maly and Sonny? You can't go on Sonny's platform, type in Vivek, and see all of the things he's trying to pin him in the corner. So Vivek is going into the interview blind, and that's a disadvantage, okay? When you go into it with Sonny, also you have to go into it with an intellectual mind, not talking points, not bringing up things about my past, right? Because that's what An0maly does. He goes based upon, here's what you did in the past. You know, you had the Soros and the pharmaceutical and this and that, and right? Like all the things that don't take any thinking. It just takes preparation. But Sonny's going to challenge your thinking. You're like, he's going to have to go off script. And one thing about these politicians is they need to stay on script. So he won't have a conversation with Sonny because that's going to take him into a land where there is no script. Okay? So that's why he'll take the conversation with Sonny, or won't take the conversation with Sonny, but will take the one with An0maly. Now, let's go to the interview. And I'm only going to play one clip, and just one clip just to show you how he cannot, well, I would say how An0maly was ill prepared, and how most people are ill prepared to speak to Vivek, right? Because remember, Vivek's smarter than you, right? Let's see.
What's up, my friends? Today's the day. Presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy joins my channel to go over.
All right, let's pull it up on the screen. Without further ado, let's take a look. All right, here we go. I'm going to put this on your screen. We're going to take a look at Vivek versus An0maly.
And at the end of the day,
I'm just going to fast forward to one part, just to show you how many people are not equipped to have a conversation with Vivek, right? And it's not because they're stupid. It's just simply because they're ignorant of how the rest of the world works. So your average influencer, right? Your average influencer has no real life experience. Let's just call it spade a spade. Your average influencer has no real life experience, right? They've never had a real job. They've never launched a startup, worked in a startup. Very little real life experience, right? They don't have kids. They don't have a wife. Anyway. So you have somebody like An0maly, who, I love An0maly. An0maly's cool. I think he does fabulous work when he does his investigative journalism. When he does his documentary style stuff, fabulous work. Great detail. However, he's not a businessman. And in order to pin down a businessman in a business conversation, you got to be a businessman. But many of these influencers, all they know is their investigative journalism, their talking points, and however they feel. Now, An0maly is not really a talking point guy. I can't say that, but most influencers are, right? But not to An0maly's fault, he's not a business guy. So let's go to the clip, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, where Vivek is able to slither right through this. Right through this. And easily, too. Like, Vivek laughs at him. Okay? Hold on a second. Let me check on my chatters, and then we're going to go to the clip. What up, chat? Rudy in the house. EMP. Rudy said An0maly is trash. He blocked protocol for nothing. Did he? Oh yeah, shout out Strong Dad. Happy birthday, Strong Dad. You know. Happy birthday, man. Yeah, he probably working on his birthday. He said Vivek isn't that smart. He just rambles a lot. An0maly did a decent job with the interview. All right. An0maly looking like Drake cousin. All right, let's go to the clip.
I founded, I did do business in China. I see how ugly it is.
You can't do business in China if you're critical of the CCP. Honestly, from any business, if they criticize the United States, they roll out the red carpet. So I started my second major business, Strive. It's an asset management firm. I don't know if you know much about Strive, but it competes with BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard by rejecting the ESG orthodoxy. I did something that no major U.S. asset manager has ever done. I made a day one commitment that Strive would never do business in China. And as I said, even in my 20s, I really wasn't particularly political, but I came to my views, especially on China, because of my experiences. And so, yes,
I feel bad for An0maly. He looking at his notes. He looking at the chat. He trying to pin him down. He's 31 minutes into the interview and still hasn't pinned this motherfucker. It's impossible, An0maly. You cannot do it. I feel bad for An0maly.
I talk about that openly, which is why I've been the most vocal CEO against China.
Watch this. Now, right here is the clip I want you to pay attention to.
And in favor of cutting the cord of probably any CEO in the United States. And I challenge you to find one who's been even more vocal than me on it.
Speaking of BlackRock, Newsweek reported recently that while you've been openly vocal against ESG policies, that Roivant, your company's major institutional investors, include Morgan Stanley, Viking Global, and BlackRock, the very firms he criticizes, are among his largest stakeholders, owning over 500 million.
You see Vivek laugh? You see Vivek laugh? That's how you know he comfortable. He like, oh, you gonna try this, huh? Poor naive kid. Now watch this. This is where I'm on Vivek's side. And I've told y'all about this in the past. And I'm gonna explain it after he answers the questions. I told y'all this shit in the past. That y'all just can't do this shit.
And shares in your company.
It's hilarious, right? So you want to know?
It is, yeah.
And the thing that makes it hilarious is that people have to know how the system works, right?
You got to know how the system works. And these influencers don't know how the system works.
Don't be duped by anybody. You want to know why BlackRock's the top shareholder of every American company that's publicly listed? The company I founded is listed on the stock exchange.
Got him. Just like that, got him. You know what I mean? You see these headlines and shit, but even on the Grift Report, like when we dive into headlines, we dive into information, you always see me like double check and fact check myself and make sure what I'm saying is correct. But right here, it's like...
Well, you want to know the way it works is BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard automatically own your companies, whether or not you have a choice in the matter. You don't choose your shareholders as a public company.
I don't have to finish the clip. Iced him right there. Iced him right there. That's it. And that's why I say y'all got to be careful because you're right-wing talking heads. And I'm not talking about An0maly. I'm talking about the people that wrote the Newsweek article or wherever An0maly got his information from. These right-wing talking heads, some of them know what's going on. But they know everybody else doesn't. Right? So what happens is they'll say, oh, BlackRock is one of the investors in this company. But is it a private company or is it a public company? And if it's a private company, who's the majority shareholder? Is it BlackRock? Is it Vivek? Is it somebody else? Right? But if the company's public, you don't control who's buying shares. Like Verizon can't stop me. Well, Visa is a company I buy stock in. Visa can't stop me from buying shares in the company. I go on my app and I place an order and I fucking get the shares. You can't stop BlackRock from investing in your company when it's a publicly traded company. It's not how the system works. So they'll set you up and say, oh, look, BlackRock, the bad guy, right? BlackRock is one of the largest investment firms on the planet. And I said this a few weeks ago. I said you cannot just say somebody's evil because they have a BlackRock investment. It's really hard to have a corporation that's worth $100 million plus and not get BlackRock money. That's how ubiquitous BlackRock is. It's like saying, oh, he's evil because he uses Windows, and that's tied to Bill Gates. What? Where we at? Like, And this is how we get screwed over. And this is how we get screwed over. Because people think because BlackRock is on the cap table over there, well, not even on the official cap table, just an investor from the public company. Here they are. So again, I don't have to play any more than the interview. When I got to that part of the interview, I was just like, see, like, An0maly's just out of his league. He's absolutely out of his league. And even some of the questions where he was like able to definitively say that Vivek was wrong. You know what Vivek did? He apologized. That's what Vivek did throughout this interview. Anytime An0maly, like for example, when he brought up the things that Vivek said about the vaccines, right? First of all, it's not a question I would have asked Vivek. I'm not asking Vivek any of these questions that are already out there, right? Let's have an intellectual conversation about life, right? And let me see where you are then, right? But he asked him this question about damn, wait, what was I saying? Oh shit, I lost my thought. Fucking going off on a tangent. Oh, yeah, so Vivek apologizes. So he pins him to the vaccine and then he just simply apologizes, right? Like Vivek just apologizes. He goes, you know what? I was wrong. And it makes Vivek look good because he admits that he's wrong. Most people wouldn't even admit that they're wrong, but Vivek's smart enough to at least put on the persona of being a good guy and admitting he's wrong. So you couldn't even pin him on that because every time he did, I think 2 or 3 times in the interview, he got Vivek to say, I was wrong about that, and I was wrong about this, and I was wrong about that. But that's why I wouldn't ask those questions because they all come with an out of, I was just wrong, and people are not perfect, and I'm allowed to be wrong. Which is why I wouldn't ask him those questions, you know? And I knew what An0maly was going to come with. I know he's going to come with his receipts, but you can't come with receipts to a slitherer. He's a slitherer. You can't pin him down. Not possible. So everybody see how that goes? Yeah, he made An0maly look silly right there. But it's only because An0maly is he's just a young cat who's an influencer. He's not really in the biz. He doesn't study business. Some of us out here, like, I'm a businessman. I study business. So I wouldn't have asked him that question. I don't give a fuck who's, you know, if BlackRock is funding his project or not. That's not what my concern is. My concern is, are you a real fucking human being? And let me pull you off the talking points. Let me pull you into waters you've never explored before. I wanted An0maly to do that. That's why Vivek won't talk to Sonny Johnson. Y'all are so weird that you give him so much credit for typical politician answers. No, you've missed the plot. You've missed the plot of what we're saying here. What we're saying is he's going to give you typical political answers, which is why you can't pin him. That's exactly my point. We're not giving him credit. Fuck Vivek. What I'm saying is An0maly was not equipped for the conversation because he's a slithering politician. Vivek is. I'm just explaining to you how the conversation works. An0maly also got him on past statements. This wasn't the crux of the interview. This was the crux of the interview for me. This was the crux of the interview for me. When you ask a dumbass question about BlackRock and the guy has to tell you it's a publicly traded company and laughs at you. The other stuff on his other statements, he just slithered out of, which I fully expected. Somebody said we should be against publicly traded companies. I don't know if I agree with that or not. Why won't An0maly debate Sticks again? Sticks is a beast. Sticks is somebody that I would trust to go into a debate with Vivek. Sticks will probably be able to almost pin Vivek. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to knock him off the talking point track. Carlos said, An0maly only focused on contradictions. All Vivek did was read his scam script. Exactly. Exactly. And I knew that's what An0maly was going to do. He's going to try and find all the contradictions and then pin that to him. Knowing he's a politician and he's just going to fucking slither out of it. He's going to lie his way out of it. He's going to just make up some shit. Slithering. Yeah, that's what we're going to call him from right now. I like that, Tari. Slithering. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's enough about that. Let's go. Let's reach in the bag, see what we got before we get to our CBDC update of the day. Shout out to An0maly. He tried his best, you know, and I appreciate him for trying. But again, it was an impossible task. An0maly had an impossible task ahead of him. Let's take a look here in a vein of Vivek. I said I showed this video earlier. Here's Vivek.
Fully set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time, and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24, you take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship, you take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I didn't say I didn't have the money.
When I was going to law school in my mid-20s, in my early 20s, when I didn't have the money and it was a merit scholarship, when I didn't have the money, when I didn't have the money.
I didn't say I didn't have the money.
When I didn't have the money.
I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot.
Why do I need to have a conversation with this cat? It's nothing to have a conversation with this guy. We got him on 4K. What do I need to have a conversation with him about? We got him in 4K. This y'all guy? 1 minute he had the money, another minute he didn't have the money. I'm sure he's going to explain his way out of that one, right? So this guy, you know, some Fed account, he says, really, HJ, Ruparing Vivek Ramaswamy? I said, listen, I know the cool thing to do is covet Vivek, but not everyone with eyes can see. And he says, a Rupar-S video will help me. How exactly? And I said, show me how I did that and I'll delete my tweet. And he said, well, perhaps not full Rupar. So you accused me of some shit, then I asked you to specify, and then I'm gonna show you another example of this. I had this clip I posted about Eminem. Watch this.
Barack Obama and Donald Trump slick his tongue motherfuckers out here, and Trump is beating Obama.
I will say this, he talks a good one. And if
he talks a good one, that's his fucking job, you moron. He's in politics. You gotta talk a good one. That's his fucking job. The issue is the rest of these motherfuckers don't talk a good one.
Or the mom and dad, or the neighbor.
The last motherfucker that talked a good one was Barack Obama. You ain't had a slick tongue motherfucker since.
Now I posted this. Now keep in mind, when I first went to go post this, I said, I'm going to clip out this last part right here, right? Where it says,
one was Barack Obama.
Right here, where I said the last person.
You ain't had a slick tongue motherfucker.
That part right there. I said I was going to clip that out. I was going to clip that out because it'll be more tasty to conservatives. Because when they see any compliment to Obama, even if it's an underhanded compliment, because calling somebody slick tongue is not exactly a compliment. It's an underhanded compliment. But, you know, most people don't think. So I get this comment, right? This guy goes, Hotep, I like you, but come on, man. Barack, BHO, Barack Hussein Obama continued the wishy-washy policies of Jimmy Carter and took them to the 9th degree, except he took racism to the next divisive level. I don't think he spelled that right. He continues in the shadows. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you got people, you motherfuckers can't even spell. What word is this? It's D-I. Like this is what I'm saying. Like, y'all hear words on the internet and shit, and then y'all start using them. And it's like, y'all don't read. And then you want to argue with a motherfucker that actually reads. So I asked him, I said, what did I say that was wrong?
Then he comes back and goes, Hotep, my bad. And I knew people would get triggered because you motherfuckers got small brains, yo. I went back and listened. The Obama versus Trump slick tongue MFers comment, spot on again. Again, my bad. I'm a white guy who loves watching you on Gutfeld, even though Greg can be annoying. Started watching you on Uncle Hotep. Now, thank you for being one of our watchers. But damn, like Obama's so triggering. So I asked him, I said, why do y'all get so triggered when people mention Obama? He says, my bad. I need to listen first and then think about the subject matter. Thanks. Just watch your interview with Alex Jones. I would try to be a better listener and understanding human being. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's good. That's a good solution to this. But this is what's wrong with conservatives. Mention one little like everybody. Tucker drops an interview about some gay dude sucking Barack Obama's dick, and it's got fucking 20 million views or whatever the fuck is on the channel. You think I'm going to watch that? I'm not going to watch it. I'm not triggered by Obama. I'm not going to listen to stories about gay sex. I'm a heterosexual male. And the same conservative people who complain day in, day out about the rainbow flag and transphobia and homophobia are the first ones to turn on this salacious fucking content about gay sex. This is what we doing? This is what we doing? This is what we doing? Y'all watching content about gay sex? All y'all need some Bud Light.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I tweeted yesterday, I said somebody's husband out there is watching this shit and he got a smile on his face. Some dude's like, well, it's because the Democrats been protecting them so long, we finally get some get back. This is your get back? This is your get back? Some gay crackhead telling a story about gay sex? This is your get back? I didn't care when they said Trump was grabbing women by their pussy. I didn't give a fuck because I know it's some bullshit ass news. Mention Obama, here they come. How dare you say that, Hotep? What did I say? Oh, wait, my bad. You didn't actually say anything. What? This is why I hate Twitter. I might play this, piss off some people. Let's go to New York City Mayor, see what he's saying.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month.
Uh-oh. Hold on, I want to pay attention to this, and I'm trying to catch up on chatters at the same time. Big Ron Bees said 1,001 gay stories out there does get 99% fake. I don't know if it's valid or not, but I don't give a fuck. He said, that's great, man. Mention anything black around here and they get mad as shit. For real. That's why part of my brand now is posting some pro-black shit on the timeline just to fucking get rid of people who are just fucking retarded. Today I posted that video that said, it's got some white man interviewed by Sam Tripoli from the Tinfoil podcast. And he's basically saying that black people were the original people on this land of America. And I didn't say it, a white man said it. And all I did was post a video and quote him, and people are arguing with me. And I'm just like, I'm really not about to argue about that shit because I really don't give a fuck. But it's just amazing at what triggers people. Black people learn how to read. No, they didn't. I had somebody tell me the other day, they said black people never transcribed their history. They weren't into recording their history. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the papyri of An0maly like, what the fuck do you think this shit is? What do you think all of these papyruses were? You think that wasn't records? You think the story of the Osirian drama, which is about the An0maly civilization, that people took a historical record and turned into the Bible? Do I got to go on that tangent? Let me go on that tangent real quick. Very, very quick. I'll do this in 30 seconds. You had Upper and Lower Egypt. Set represented, I think, Lower Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, or Upper. I can't remember. But really what you had were two factions that were warring. And when they told the story, they personified these regions as people. One of them has been Set, the other one has been Heru. So Heru and Set, right? This becomes the Osirian drama. The Osirian drama is taught to Greeks and Romans and various other people, and then becomes adapted as the story of the New Testament. Okay? This is historical fact. I know some of you guys believe in the Bible. Bible's not a historical text. It's not a historical record. It would like to be. I know you guys think it is, but it's not a historical record. It's a religious text. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you guys want to follow a religious text, I will never say anything bad about that. You probably should. It's a lot of good things in there. But as far as historical record, it's the Osirian drama. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. The New Testament is the Osirian drama. And only people that don't want to accept that are people that are Bible thumpers. And I can't help you because, well, that might pull you, that might challenge your faith. But I don't think I don't think this is not from the movie Zeitgeist. I've seen the movie Zeitgeist. This is not what we're talking about, Metastep. I know you're triggered. It's going to be okay. Just breathe. All right. And I only say this shit just to trigger y'all because y'all just so fickle. Y'all don't even do any fucking research. You just fucking believe whatever you've been taught your whole life. And that's okay too, I guess. Todd Mayak said the Old Testament is Sumerian remixes. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? This shit been passed down and stepped on, yo. Is Osiris Jesus? No. No. You can't do it. You see, you can't just make direct adaptations to it. It's just the story carries the same overall. See, this is why I didn't want to spend too much time on this. Let's go back. Let's just talk about the mayor of NYC. That's a lot easier for you guys.
One time we were just in Venezuela. Now we get Ecuador. Now we get Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we getting Western Africa. Now we getting people from all over the globe have made their mind. Now we getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we getting Western Africa.
Wait a second. What? Russians and Africans?
Now we getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the.
Wait a second. We ain't gonna talk about the Hispanic people. All right, I'm gonna let it slide.
The border and coming to New York City, and everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community.
Metastep is asking for documentation. Here, I'm gonna give you some documentation to read. You should read. Here, I'll put it on the screen. Let's do Codex Game Over. Right? So Codex Game Over, a documentation collation of the original ancient Egyptian African text and the later biblical plagiarization. That's by Shaka himself. I suggest getting that first and foremost so you can see the literal translations back and forth. And then African origins of Christianity. And I think this is by John G. I think it's John G. something. All right, here's one. African Origin of Christianity, Volume 1. But that's not the one. I mean, the thing is, that's why I hate arguing about this shit, because it's like a fucking million books about this shit.
John G. Jackson. That's the one I'm talking about. John G. Jackson. That one is like, you know, a fucking third grader can read this book. So John G. Jackson, he has a bunch of books here. Christianity Before Christ, Ethiopian and the Origin of Civilization, Man, God, and Civilization, Pagan Origins of the Christ Myth, The Golden Ages of Africa, Introductions. I mean, this is stuff I've read when I was a kid, man. Like y'all really got to play fucking catch up. This is the shit my dad used to make me read while I went to fucking church. Like, hey, take this book with you to church and see what they say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a troublemaker in Christian school. They called it CCD, Christian class. Aesop's fable comes from East Africa. That's correct. But it's just like, and this is why I say, when it comes to the powers that be, and it comes to history and history being taught, especially so-called black history, it's not black people the only ones that are hurt by this. It's white people that are being hurt by this stuff because you don't know your history. You don't know any history. What they did was they veiled your eyes and they closed it off to give you a fake perception of yourself. So you don't even know, like when I called Shaka and he gave us the history of the Tartaria and the An0maly tribe. You don't even know you're not Caucasian anymore. You don't even know that you're not Caucasian anymore. You don't know your lineage. I make one phone call to the master teacher and the master teacher comes on and we do a whole class on the origin of white people. Why white people ain't teach you the origin of white people? Because they wanted to feed you a fake story so you would be at odds with black people. And this is why you have racism today. Racism is in part due to the fact that history is not taught in correctness. It's not taught in order, aka chronology. Because when it comes to black people, they teach slavery first. So y'all are fucked. This is why y'all can't even, this is why you guys can't even navigate the political landscape, because you don't even have great historical knowledge. In order to if you ever look at any great politician, they're studiers of history. They're studiers of great warriors and empires. And y'all not studied up on that shit. Y'all studied up on it from a Houghton Mifflin, like, oh, I learned about this in high school, right? Like books given to you. Did you go and seek out any books and materials to go do the research on your own time? And did you go and look at contradictory information to the shit you learned? Because when I learned some shit, like when I was reading about the Russian Revolution, I read 2 biographies on Rasputin. I read one that was pro-Rasputin and one that was anti-Rasputin. And I found the middle ground, which was the truth about the sisters and stuff he was running around with, doing sexual favors with. Like, y'all really got to study. Let's go back.
In this city is going to be impacted. We got a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us. And so I say to you, as I turn it over to you, this is some of the most educated, some of the most knowledgeable, probably more of my commissioners and deputy commissioners and chiefs live in this community. So as you ask me a question about migrants, tell me what role you played. How many of you organized to stop what they're doing to us? How many of you were part of the movement to say, we're seeing what this mayor is trying to do and they're destroying New York City? It's going to come to your neighborhoods. All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said it last year when we had 15,000. I'm telling you now, with 110,000, the city we knew, we're about to lose. And we're all in this together, all of us. Staten Island saying, send them out to Manhattan. Manhattan is saying, send them out to Queens. Queens is saying, send them out to Brooklyn. No, it's not the game we can play. Over the floor.
Seems like they have an immigration problem in New York. Duh. The fuck? What you think was gonna happen?
Let's go to Megyn Kelly. I feel bad for Megyn Kelly. Let's see.
I regret getting the vaccine, even though I'm a 52-year-old woman, because I don't think I needed it. I think I would have been fine. I got COVID many times, and it was well past when the vaccine was doing what it was supposed to be doing. And then for the first time, I tested positive for an autoimmune issue at my annual physical. And I asked, I went to the best rheumatologist in New York, and I asked her, do you think this could have to do with the fact that I got the damn booster and then got COVID within 3 weeks? And she said, yes. Yes, I wasn't the only one she'd seen that with. I regret.
So Megyn Kelly contracted an autoimmune disorder. Something that anti-vaxxers have talked about with various types of vaccines even prior to. There's a documentary on Netflix about it. I don't know what it's called. I forget. But or it was on Netflix. But autoimmune disorder, for example, autism is classified as an autoimmune disorder. And they were many anti-vaxxers said that vaccines were causing this autoimmune disorder, and we have this big spike in autism, and you know all the pro-vaxxers and people who are brainwashed basically said no, that's not true. Blah 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 blah. So yeah. All right, I actually got time for this next clip, since we're in a mood of infuriating white people today. Let's play this clip.
Tartarian and barbarian explained by
follow the beards. Okay, if you're into Tartaria, you should be into Barbaria too, because they're the same word. Tartaria means east of Rome, because we have a Roman history, guys. Remember, we have a Roman history. Tartaria means east of Rome. Barbaria means west of Rome. That's why you have Berbers in North Africa that are black, and you have barbarians in Germany and Scandinavia that are white. It's a Roman perspective to history. Okay, so Barbaria and Tartaria are the same thing. Well, in the Barbary Wars, where America was fighting Moors, we were fighting Morocco, Mauritania, Algeria, I think, these Moorish countries. That was in the early 1800s, mid-1800s, the Barbary Wars. As soon as we won the Barbary Wars fighting North African Moorish pirates, what happened in America? The age of piracy in South Florida. The Navy, the U.S. Navy, immediately left North Africa and came to the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean and Key West, and they enacted martial law in Key West in the name of fighting piracy. So who were these pirates that they were fighting that just popped up in Key West? Well, Florida was acquired in late 18-teens, early 1820s, right, officially. In 1820, there was not a single permanent resident in Key West. By 1830, Key West was the richest city in America. How is that possible?
That's crazy, dude.
And we're told that it was all due to pirates that were making such good money, and shipwreckers and divers, treasure divers. Well, I guess all these pirates were doing their taxes if Florida, you know, if Key West became the richest city in America, and it was the most populated city in Florida. One problem, there was no bridge. You had to get there by boat. So what was going on in Key West, where it was in a matter of 9 years, went from not having a single person living there to being America's richest city? What happened? Well, it was pirates. It was the Barbers, the Berbers, the Seminoles, Semitic people. But
they showed. Hold on. So you're saying?
I think they moved in.
They just moved in with all their pirate booty.
It's more just that the magnifying glass went to Florida because they were fighting the Moors.
Oh, okay.
America was fighting the Moors in North Africa. As soon as that war ended, we unofficially started fighting the Moors in South Florida. Okay.
Oh, so we went in, took over, and then we're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a lot of gold here, and now it's the richest city out there.
Yes.
Whoa, bro.
Yep. And when the first railroad got to Key West, the population plummeted. So think about that. The only way to get there was by boat up until early 1900s, 1910s, I think 1920s maybe. When the first railroad got to Key West, that Flagler used slaves to build, right? And Seminoles. They were using Seminoles and slaves to build it. When they got there, the population decreased. So how does that make sense? If this is the first time that you can actually access it by land, all the people just leave? Makes very little
So they went there and killed everybody. Is that what you're saying?
They went there, killed everything, transferred the wealth to essentially the white people, the new white people, and you know that's all there is to the story, really.
Oh my God, dude, this is just so fucking blows my mind because, like, this is Sam speaking. There's been a giant psyop against the black community, this victimhood put on them, that they all came here in a fucking boat, defeated, and turned into slaves, right? When in reality, they discovered America and were here before a lot of people.
Hey, Sam said it, not me.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Let's go on to our CBDC story of the day. Listen, y'all think y'all know history. Y'all don't know history. If you've never dug in and spent like a weekend or several, I can't even say a weekend. It's going to take a lot more than a weekend. But let's just make it easy. If you never dug in on a weekend and really like dove into some literature, you can't really do it on YouTube. Back in the day, you could have did it on YouTube. Now you can't really. YouTube search is trash now. But it used to be a time where you could use YouTube. But there's so much information out there that's hidden from us. And it's all about, protecting. I'm going to say it. It's about protecting white supremacy. And I hate that word. I don't even believe in it. Because white supremacy is a myth, right? There is no such thing as white supremacy. White supremacy is when you hide history, right? And you make white people think that they made everything that's great in the world and nobody else did, right? Nobody else had any contribution to history. So subconsciously that does something to white people. So then when you show them, hey, did you know that white people were illiterate until the African presence in Europe? They have a hard time dealing with that. Did you know that your greatest scholars from Greece went to university in Africa? And, and then they mention things like, Africans didn't record their history and all that stuff. Meanwhile, when you looked at the Mali Empire, well, I don't even got to go to the Mali Empire. All you got to do is look at what Alexander the Great did. These people were such savages that when they came across books and they couldn't read them, they just burned them. And that goes to, for example, let's just type this in. Right? So what happens is, so it says right here, on his pursuit of Pompey into Egypt in 48 BCE, Caesar was cut off by a large fleet of Egyptian boats in the harbor of Alexandria. He ordered the boats to be burned. The fleet was destroyed, but the flames were spread. It's not known how much of the library was destroyed, right? So what happens is you have, I'll just, just to be frank, white people burn black books and then say, look, they never had none. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys didn't record your history. Well, yeah, it's easy to say that. Well, first, after you plunder the books and then you hide them in the Vatican library, that's another story for another day. All the books plundered from Africa and stored in the Vatican library. You know how much knowledge is in there? Then you got Nikola Tesla talking about the stuff he learned from the Moors and the documentation he got from the Moors, right? All of this stuff comes, like they branched off of African technology and understanding. That's why I say colonization actually stunted the growth of technology across the world. But again, anyway, let's go to something that maybe you guys can understand, or I should say stomach. So the digital rupee, real quick, this is this next section here is sponsored by Syscoin. Okay, sponsored by Syscoin. We got the new SuperDAPP coming soon. New SuperDAPP, the real everything app. Make sure you get in tune. Okay, if you hit the link in the description box below, to take you to our Telegram group. In the Telegram group, people are learning crypto very easily, but also you will get paid to use social media and the app, etc., etc. There's an AirDrop coming soon. This is totally free. There's no sign-up fees. Sometimes people scam you and say, hey, you gotta. No, none of that. Just fucking money falling out the air, aka AirDrop. So if you want to participate, join our Telegram group. All right, let's go back. Wholesale CBDC. So real quick, basically what happened is the digital rupee. With the digital rupee, the central bank basically said, as a part of their interoperability campaign, they're targeting the call money market. And the call money market's actually very interesting, right? Because this is how a lot of the panics were caused.
I think Panic of 1819 and several others. But basically it just comes down to the fact that when the central bank feels like calling back those loans, you got to pay them back. And that really jolted the economy. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the call money market, because when the bank calls, you got to pay up. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see what's going to happen with that, because since it's a CBDC, they can program the money. So they don't have to wait for you to send the money. They will just program the money to come back, or just burn and mint. Yeah, they could just burn it on your side and mint it on their side, which is how a lot of the programming of this stuff works. If you're into crypto, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not, you probably could follow that conversation too. All right, let's go to the next one. No, not this. Let's close that. Let's close that. Let's close that. More out of India. A lot of news coming out of India. So the main thing here is, again, how they're selling the CBDC, right? So first of all, Mr. Adhikari, governor of the Nepal Rashtra Bank, basically says that digitalization is a top priority at the bank, right? So top priority is CBDC for this governor of the bank. And he gave a talk. He gave a talk at FinTech Fest 2023. Well, what was the premise of his talk? The premise of his talk was empowering financial inclusion. It's that DEI shit. You know what I mean? They're going to use black people and poor people to sell this shit, right? When it gets here, they're going to use black women specifically to sell this shit. Anyway, and remember I said that. Empowering financial inclusion through fintech innovation. Nepal's journey towards a more inclusive financial landscape. How many times can you include the word inclusive in the title of your talk? Included it twice, just to hammer it home, I guess. So, again, when it comes to the United States, you know how it's going to be sold. It's going to be sold under the guise of inclusion, okay? Let's go to the last story here, and then we're going to open up phone lines. If you want to get on the phone lines, text 202-596-5631 with Hotep in your name. Do not cut the line, because I'm not going to pick up the phone call for you. Text Hotep in your name to 202-596-5631. Okay, so Philippines is getting a CBDC pretty much indefinitely, according to BSP, their central bank. And it said that they're going to be using Hyperledger's Fabric, distributed ledger technology. We talked about this before. Blockchain is a branch of distributed ledger technology. I did some research on that this morning. Still got some more research to do on DLT, distributed ledger technology, but basically it's not centralized information. The data is stored in different places, which to me just, it's hard to wrap my mind around, because that's how I see, again, because blockchain is a branch of distributed ledger technology, it's hard for me to understand distributed ledger technology, because blockchain is distributed ledger technology. So I have to do more research on that to really understand what's happening here. I get it from a visual perspective, but I don't get it enough to explain it to somebody else. Like, I understand what's happening here, but it seems like information is stored and transferred in a whole bunch of different locations, and then confirmed at different locations. And this is sort of how the RLN works too, the Regulated Liability Network, where you have the independent partition operators, and those partition operators are either central banks or financial institutions. Some of the bigger operators are going to be like JPM. Anyway, so it says it's for its wholesale CBDC, right? So we know there's a retail CBDC and there's a wholesale CBDC. Wholesale CBDC is basically between the central bank and the large financial institutions, right? This is a pilot program. The pilot program is known as Project Aguila. And I asked Jonah to do some research for me today. Let me see if he was able to get that answer for me. Hold on. Did he get me an answer? All right, Jonah's MIA. He's probably at work or something, but I wanted to know what, and maybe the chat knows. Here's a nice little trivia question for the chat.
what does the eagle mean to? Well, I guess it's two different things, right? It's like, what is the esoteric meaning of eagle, and what does it mean to the Freemasons in the New World Order, right? I didn't feel like doing all the Googles, you know. I got other shit I wanted, but I just wanted to, you know, see what the meaning was so I can pin it, because Project Aguila in the Philippines, Aguila is the term for eagle. So I know United States, we're very fond of the eagle. That's our national bird. You see it on our money, and you know, that's like the symbol of America. So I'm trying to figure out, what does that mean to the Freemasons, because the Freemasons basically designed this country. And if you don't believe that or know that, I can understand not knowing that, but if somebody told it to you and you're like, no, that's not true, it was here for the founding fathers. The founding fathers were Freemasons. Okay, so let's not go there. This is all fact. This is all documented. I know some of y'all want to believe in the founding fathers, you know. It's like believing in Santa Claus. The only difference is the founding fathers actually existed, but I don't know what year. And again, this is what's called jingoism, and jingoism proliferates itself at a very, 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 very young age. I mean, from the day of kindergarten, there's a certain national indoctrination that happens. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands. I don't remember, but at some point I remembered that, right? Like, we had to recite that over and over again, right? Why did we have to recite that every morning? It is to promote jingoism, right? And then they pound you in the head over and over again. Founding fathers, founding fathers, founding fathers, over and over again and shit. Yeah, but my teacher didn't tell me the founding fathers were Freemasons. And they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me how despicable Alexander Hamilton is, right? They didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about central banking when we talked about the founding fathers and how fucking Alexander Hamilton wanted that shit, right? They didn't talk about that shit. And that's another question I wanted. You know, that's the question. That's the conversation I would have had with Vivek. First question, Vivek, what's up with the CBDCs, bro? What we gonna do about that? That'd have been my first question. Do you think Anomaly went there? No, because that's not on Anomaly's plate. CBDCs are the most important thing, but they're not on Anomaly's plate. I'm not saying he has to be on top of this. He does not. However, he's not, because that's not in the right-wing sphere yet. That's not something popular to talk about. It's not going to get the clicks. Once CBDC becomes the thing to get clicks for, then people will start to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it because it's just very fucking fascinating and interesting to see how the New World Order is going to roll out the one world coin and lock down everybody as their bitch. To me, it's just fascinating to watch. Mostly because I get to see historically how other things got passed, right? Because everybody's so concerned with where Barack Obama put his dick, nobody knows what the fuck is going on with the CBDC. They couldn't even tell you what it is, right? So again, you know, you give the population bread and circus, and you won't ever have to talk about anything real. Anyway, the interesting thing about this Project Aguila is it's to educate the central bank. The central bank, these guys running the central bank don't know some fucking dick shit about technology, right? So they got to educate them about the technology and the things that they can and cannot do. So these people have to be educated on the CBDC. And it says they're going to collaborate with financial institutions, which is obvious because it's a wholesale CBDC. It says right here, guidance came from a report from the IMF. We talked about this before, how the IMF is going to be one of those, you know, Western government bodies that sort of dictates policy. We're still waiting on that handbook, the CBDC handbook from the IMF, to be released. I guess it's still in the works. And it says the IMF report underlined the potential for the Philippines to utilize the CBDC for cross-border payments. Although the Philippines, keep in mind, cross-border payments, right? IMF that's what they deal in. They're dealing in international stuff, right? So it makes sense that they would talk about cross-border payments so you can connect your CBDC to the one world coin, okay? Although Philippines initially expressed interest in joining the Singaporean multi-CBDC project called Project Dunbar, it's believed that the experiment phase of this project has concluded. I think the reason why that didn't go through is because probably some bureaucracy in the background, but I could be wrong. right? And there's the M-Bridge project. We've covered that in the past. That involves the Bank of International Settlements. That's Hong Kong, Thailand, China, UAE. So that's the BRICS side of things, right? The East. So it says here BSP's commitment to wholesale CBD implementation. It says implementation. It says in January 2023, the BSP stated that it would not pursue the retail version of its CBDC. Why? Well, because the focus instead would be on facilitating transactions between financial institutions. And that's not exactly alarming. It makes sense, right? You have a top to bottom approach, right? You would cover how is a central bank, because it's a central bank digital currency. We're not going to be dealing directly with consumers. We'll be dealing with financial institutions. So let's figure that out first and how that's going to happen. But it says the BSP also unveiled plans to transition the country towards what? A cashless economy. Alex Jones, Ben told you.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
You know what's funny is you can probably search my account for InfoWars. And you can see how far back I've been on this shit. Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all. Let's find the oldest tweet I have of InfoWars. I'm gonna show you how far back, because motherfuckers think I'm new to this shit. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of y'all are fucking new to this shit, but I've been red-pilled. I was born red-pilled, okay? So when I ran across Alex Jones, I said, yeah, this the motherfucker I've been looking for. Okay, so I found one of my oldest tweets. It's right here, 2011. 2011 right here. Damn good question. Where do I start? Start here, Infowars.net. This is what I'm telling somebody. 2011, I was telling people, yo, go listen to Infowars. 2011, one right here, Infowars.com. 2011. Where was y'all at? Was y'all supporting Alex Jones in 2011? Where was y'all at? Hotep's been told you. Hey, we're going to go to phone calls. I'll be right back after the short commercial break.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Hotep Goldstein on the line. What up, Goldstein?
What's happening?
What up, man? How you feeling, man?
Man. Let me tell you. Vivek, the one question I would have had for him pretty much would have took up the entire goddamn segment if I was interviewing him, because it's that motherfucking important. What are these fucking reforms you talking about you going to institute on the Fed? What does that look like? Because I have a reform, abolish that motherfucker. But since you ain't talking about that, what does your reforms look like? And how are they different, or how will they make the Fed different, operate differently than the way it does now? Walk me through that. That's my motherfucking whole interview right there. Anything outside of that, I don't give a fuck. What is you talking about? Well, I could pretty much just log on to Twitter and find that. So I want to know what the fuck you gonna do about the Fed.
That question never got asked.
Never got asked.
Why do you think it never got asked?
Well, it's a very, very, very touchy subject. Very touchy subject, but not just Anomaly.
I think it's because Anomaly doesn't study that type of stuff, so it's not front of brain.
Right.
I don't think Anomaly's a Fed and he didn't want to do it because he was scared of the conversation. I don't think he's scared of any conversation. I just think he's just not his wheelhouse. And that's sad because it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
Damn. Shit. Look at all the shit they done. Like, most of the shit that goes on in your everyday life is as a result of some influence that the Fed had over people who make rules for your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Even down to the shit you consume.
Facts.
So, I mean, goddamn. That's the only goddamn thing I'm really concerned about when it comes to Vivek, because on that debate stage, he was the only one that said, I want to reform this. I think everybody else was like, abolish this shit.
Yeah.
He was the only one who was talking about reform.
Reform.
But
that's the thing. Like, that's how you know he knows what to say and what not to say, right? Because he'll say reform the Fed, but I'm going to get rid of the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA.
Right.
And people bought that shit.
Bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. That's all the shit they say every day on Twitter. That's why I say, if I want to know what you're talking about, I just log on to Twitter. That's what you're talking about. But if I want to know what the fuck you really gonna do, I want to know what you're gonna do as it pertains to this Fed. I bet you he ain't got no goddamn game plan. Reform the Fed means I won't know until I get there.
Right.
That's what that quote for.
Correct. It's you know, the whole idea, you know, just sticking to what he's actually said, right? Getting rid of the CIA, FBI, CIA, right? Like, we all know that's just him going on Twitter, seeing what everybody's talking about and going, okay, I'll double down on that. Because that's what Twitter's saying. All he's doing is just mirroring Twitter. He ain't come up with nothing new, because he can't come up with nothing new, because people aren't intelligent enough to follow new shit. If he came on his platform talking about CBDCs, he wouldn't be in conversation.
Nope.
Because people aren't intelligent enough to follow the conversation. They're not informed enough to follow the conversation.
Yeah. And what's cool is he ain't even the one who been on this the longest, man. All that abolish the FBI ass shit, those are all Steven Crowder talking points.
Yeah.
May as well elect that nigga. Shit.
Might as well.
Wow. But as far as this Tucker interview, bro, everybody's so busy worried about that shit, worried about what the fuck Obama was doing. Ain't nobody asking the question of why Tucker would do this. Why is one of the most preeminent investigative, whatever the fuck he is, I'm not going to call him a journalist because he doesn't call himself a journalist, but whatever the fuck it is he does.
Yeah, it's an analyst.
He's the best. He's the absolute top tier.
Number one.
So why the fuck do you choose to interview a dick-sucking crackhead? Why is that?
Why do you think he did that, Goldstein?
Why do I think he did that?
Yeah.
There's a couple things that I'm thinking about currently. I'm leaning towards there was some sort of fucking distraction in the world yesterday because Twitter went down too. No, it was the same day as the interview. Was that yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay, yeah, because my shit be running together. Same day as the interview, Twitter went down worldwide. It was having outages worldwide.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, was something cooked up to where they had to censor news to that degree and use backup plan like Tucker, just throw some inflammatory shit out there to where people just ain't paying attention type of shit. That's kind of what I'm leaning to. I have nothing to really back that up. That's just intuition type shit. And then secondly would be you're doing this to kind of just diminish America's fucking standing in the world. Like, we already look ridiculous. This will help us look even more ridiculous because I believe Tucker's a globalist and he works just on the opposite end, but for the same goal. as all the other globalists, and that's to dissolve this shit because this is the biggest hurdle to globalism.
Correct.
So you can just jump out there and help make us look even further like some motherfucking dipshits, not just on the strength of the fact that we elected this nigga who's allegedly smoking crack and getting topped off by elderly white men, right? Not just that, but the world will see, look at all these millions of motherfuckers. They have 90 billion problems, but they choose this bitch as one. So it's an indictment not just on our administration, but on us as a fucking people, that millions of motherfuckers would choose to pay attention to this and not something more worthwhile.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
You even got Rob Smith right now talking about everyone who's saying that this isn't a story. All those people are stupid, basically. Rob Smith, Mr. Rob Smith. I don't know. So I made that video earlier just for that specific purpose, to be like, yo, I think the story shouldn't be what the fuck Obama was doing. I think the story should be what the fuck is Tucker doing.
I want to put my tinfoil kufi on that. You know, I want to really put my tinfoil kufi on, but I'm not seeing anything other than Tucker abusing his power. I'm not seeing anything other than Tucker just doesn't give a fuck. Tucker showing Fox News what they missed out on. Tucker showing the world how he can manipulate conservatives. Look at them. They're going to love this shit. Because Tucker, ever since he left Fox, we started to see a whole different type of Tucker. Right? And I keep coming back to when I saw him interviewing those people on that stage and he was laughing at them. I said, yo, he's having fun. Like, he's laughing at Pence. Like, and during a serious conversation, he's like cracking jokes. I'm like, this is not normal. Like, this is not something you do as a professional. This is not something he would have done working at Fox. So it seems to me like I think Tucker's just having fun.
I mean, listen, the more reasonable, logical side of me says that that's the likely answer.
Yeah.
All right, that's the likely answer. The simplest shit is usually what's up.
Yeah.
But I never rule out certain shit, especially when it comes to a Tucker, because I know as a man, Tucker would be like, you know what? I am gonna clown. I'm gonna clown Fox. I'm gonna fucking show my ass right now, pause, and do this as a man.
Yeah.
But I also understand that Tucker is not just a man. Tucker is an institution now.
Correct.
There's a lot of financial backing there. You know, Elon has stake in this pool now. There's a lot of people that have a stake in the Tucker brand. So he's not just a man. He's a team.
Correct.
And would his team go for something that petty? That's what I have to ask myself.
His team is going for the dollars.
Huh?
His team is going for the dollars.
Sure. Man, listen.
But
the simplest shit is always the right.
But that doesn't mean we can't have our tinfoil kufi on, because then that's how you get caught off guard when you don't keep your kufi on.
Yeah.
So you got to keep your kufi on. You know what I mean? We need the Goldstein takes so that we always looking behind our back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got to look at the world through your third eye.
Man. I usually sign on more to this shit as the days go by. I have my ideas. I'll throw them out there. But as the days go by, that shit will confirm or deny what I'm thinking. And then when I start to see more institution-type motherfuckers attach themselves to it, like a Rob Smith, at this point, he's kind of a joke, so he's a bad example for what I'm saying. But when a Rob Smith-type motherfucker or other people start to attach themselves to this and start to push the narrative in one direction, that usually confirms to me, oh, yeah, this was some shit right here. That's what the plan was. So as the days go by, we will see more and more of what actually occurred. But I don't think people should really give a fuck about what some nigga in 99 was doing with some fucking crackhead, right? All the way back in 99 when both of them were very inconsequential people, all the way up to today when they were still doing some very inconsequential shit to what makes your life fucked up.
Right.
He ain't running for office. And just tactically speaking, because some dude jumped on there talking about this is Tucker playing hardball. You can't win the war if you're not willing to get dirty and all this other shit. I'm like, okay, just tactically speaking, this was dumb as fuck. Because all the people that rock with Obama on that side of the ledger, a lot of them are sucking dick and smoking crack. So this is not a negative for them. Then you lend credence to the idea that gay people can't come out, they have to remain hidden, that whole shit that they live under. You lend credence and validity to that argument the more you come out and beat this man up for some shit he did way back in the day when he was nobody.
Right.
Then, on top of that, you make yourself, because you're supposed to be the alternative, you make yourself look very small and very petty when you sit here and engage in bitches at the beauty parlor type conversations.
Right. Correct. That's
So
exactly
you're
what
not doing
this is.
yourself any favor.
Right.
Times like these, people are looking for strength and leadership. You don't get that by saying, "Ooh, look, he was sucking dick." That's not the image you cultivate with people when you're that type of person.
This is facts. This is facts.
So that's it. That's all I got, though. But yeah, man, just keep an eye on this Tucker situation. Keep an eye on all the rest of that CBD shit.
Yeah.
CBDC. I'm starting to get more and more into that as the days go by, like understanding how that shit works.
Mm-hmm.
And shit like that. I stay up all hours of the night reading that shit.
Okay. That's
so,
how it's done.
But yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you for the calling, man.
Yes, sir. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill. Hold on. I want to take a look at this. Somebody put this in the chat, and I saw a few clips from Cornel West. Usually, like, when I like Cornel West by himself. I don't like him with other people because he just sounds crazy. Let's see.
Exactly what was the level of corruption that took place during these years?
Now, the dude in the chat said, I just want to see what the dude in the chat said, right? Because when he first said it, I'm like, I don't believe that. And that was my first reaction. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But he said, did y'all catch Cornel West get lit up on Jimmy Dore? All right, so let's see. Did he get lit up? I'm going to play a couple of clips here. Let's see if he got lit up.
Be able to see not just the text, we know the books are out there, but they have a truth commission so that we can see what voices were marginalized, what voices were pushed aside, and make sure it never happens again. I resonate with the spirit of what my green, and as important as the issue of vaccines and the COVID situation was, when you say that's probably the most important issue in your lifetime or in the last 25 or 30 years in light of all the wars, in light of what Palestinians are going through, in light of what workers are going through, 63% of them living paycheck to paycheck in terms of all the vicious attacks of the police and the murders and so forth. And yet this vaccine issue is the most important thing. I say, okay, that's my dear brother Jimmy. He's got a right to raise his voice. I'm not going to in any way push it away, but I just live in a different world. As important as vaccines have been, if I had another chance, I'd be leaning much more with the Black Caucus. But when I think of the weightiest issues, vaccines does not come immediately to mind. It just doesn't. That's the kind of world we live in, brother.
Okay.
Maybe I'll spend,
Well, here it is. Black business owners collapsed by 41%. Black business because of lockdowns. Do you care yet?
Well, no,
70,000 workers in one state were fired because of vaccine mandates. When are you going to care? Do they all have to be trans? When are you going to care about these workers? When are you going to care about this?
They They have to be trans for me to care.
You don't care. You don't care. Why don't you care about this?
Why would you accuse me? Of course I care about it.
See, you can't say he's winning. Right now I got Cornell winning. Even though I agree with Jimmy seems unhinged. Like, just have a conversation with dude, yo. Have y'all ever seen any of my conversations on my channel? Hey, just have a conversation, bro. Like really get to the meat. And then you try to gaslight. That's what Jimmy did. He gaslit him. You don't care about this. He never said he didn't care about that. Like, again, you could pin this motherfucker, but you just fail when you try to gaslight people.
Because of lockdowns. Do you care yet?
Well, no,
70,000 workers in one state were fired because of vaccine mandates. When are you going to care? Do they all have to be?
When are you going to care? He's gaslighting them as if he doesn't care. I don't know if he cares or not, but that's gaslighting right there.
Be trans? How do you...
Do they have to be trans? And then you went all the way left. We could have stayed on black people, and you just took it to a whole nother place. And then that allows Cornel West an out, where he doesn't have to tackle that headline.
When are you going to care about these workers? When are you going to care about this? When are you going to care about this?
They have to be trans for me to care.
You don't care. You don't care. Why don't you care about this?
Why would you accuse me? Of course I care about it.
See, he's gaslighting. Why don't you care?
You're saying it's not important.
I think sometimes y'all be looking at these interviews, and because the person you agree with is on your side of the bias, you just assume that they won the argument. But objectively, like, I don't see anybody winning this argument. I just see old motherfuckers arguing. A white dude and a black dude arguing, and both of these motherfuckers sound stupid.
I didn't say it wasn't important. I said it was not the most fundamental issue in my lifetime the last 30 years.
Forced medical experiments? Forced medical experiments?
Where's the nuance?
Oh, my God. So you missed this story and you're not interested in getting it right.
See, and that's the thing, like, that's a poor thing to talk about. Like Jimmy Dore has entered the realm of opinion. Now I'm arguing with you about an opinion. What is the most important thing that happened in the past 30 years? If you asked me, what was the most important thing that happened in the last 30 years? It's this motherfucking CBDC I've been tracking that nobody's fucking talking about, Jimmy Dore. That is the most important fucking thing. The fact that they just dropped FedNow. The fact that Biden issued two memorandums on the CBDC and nobody's talking about it. To where if you don't like the vaccine, guess what? They're going to shut your payments off. So yes, vaccines are important, but they're just a part of a bigger thing. But to ask Cornel West and say to him, is this a big issue to you? He doesn't live in your world, Jimmy. In your world, in the right-wing world, the pandemic of the last few years is the most important thing that happened in the last 30 years because they had lockdowns and the vaccines and all of that. Nobody told Megyn Kelly to go get the vaccine. Actually, a lot of people probably told her to, but she wasn't forced to. Y'all the one that been believing in this medical system for the past 100 years since World War II. Y'all been believing in this fake-ass medical system. And now you fucking find out that the mRNA shit ain't what you thought it would be. Are you going to backtrack and go back to the polio vaccine and meningitis vaccine and all the other vaccines, the vaccines that the Hep B vaccine they give babies right out the womb? Are we going to talk about that, Jimmy? Because to me, that is more important than talking about an unmandated vaccine, because babies are born into this world. Majority go get the Hep B vaccine day one. Vaccinated baby, straight out the womb, 24 hours, not even 24 hours. That to me is a more important issue than the COVID-19 vaccine. Because I was an anti-vaxxer before that shit was cool. When I was an anti-vaxxer, conservatives was arguing with me, Jimmy Dore. They was telling me I was crazy. Now because Jimmy Dore had an epiphany and finally figured out what the fuck is going on here, he wants Cornel West to capitulate to what he says? No, this is an opinionated argument. What's important to... Shit, women are more concerned with getting ass and titties than the damn vaccine, Jimmy. This is an opinionated argument. This is why I don't understand how y'all say somebody getting slaughtered. Just say you agree with Jimmy and keep it pushing. Don't say Jimmy slaughtered him in debate or whatever you said.
So you missed the story and you're not interested. Well, Dr. West, I wish you the best. You know I love you. You know I support
you and your precious wife and your family. You stay strong,
okay.
Let's go to the other clip, because there's another clip here. I watched these clips this morning.
Joe Biden is responsible for the mass incarceration, not Donald Trump. Who is more responsible for black and brown people being locked up and America being the largest penal colony in the world? Is it Donald Trump or would it be Joe Biden? By the way, this conversation is a loser for your campaign. Sitting here trying to make the argument.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, Jimmy, you had him. You had him. And then you said, oh, this conversation is a loser for the campaign, which gives Cornel West an out to not tackle the things you said about Biden and Trump. Nah, Cornel, I want you to answer that question. You don't think Biden was more important than Trump? And then Jimmy Dore gives him an out and brings up something that's like an ad hominem. An attack. Oh, this is bad for your campaign. Like, shut up, Jimmy. Let's just stick to the facts, yo. These is y'all leaders. These are the people y'all watch too. These are y'all intellectuals. I feel bad for y'all.
It could be a loser for you too, though.
Trying to make the argument.
Yeah, it's losing for me. That Jimmy Dore, after this, I've never watched Jimmy Dore's content. I probably won't now. Now I won't, because he doesn't seem like an intellectual to me. And I only watch usually exclusively intellectuals, like intellectuals out of this world, like Jagdeep, Sidhu. You know what I'm saying? Like, I deal with intellectuals. You got to be super smarter than me for me to fucking listen to you. I can't listen to Jimmy Dore now.
Are you trying to make the case that somehow the Democrats are more fascist than the Republicans? The fascism cuts across the board. But
that's a true statement. The fascism cuts across the board. It's Reagan that started a lot of the shit in the black community. He wasn't no Democrat.
That's not how you say it, though. You say it's only Donald Trump. You don't say it cuts across the board. You call.
That's not true. That's not true. Cornel West is hypercritical of everybody. He be shooting shots at everybody.
Joe Biden milquetoast, and you call Donald Trump a fascist. So you're not saying Joe Biden is a fascist, really?
I said there's fascist dimensions to the Biden project.
Fascist dimensions.
Absolutely right.
It's like you're campaigning for Joe Biden almost when you're doing this. That's what it sounds like.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But that's what it's.
I can't listen to any more of this. I can't. It's like an intellectual versus a fucking radio host. And y'all be saying like people be winning the debate. Like, what do y'all be watching, yo? This is the shit y'all be watching? Somebody said, I think Jimmy gets wild about this because he has a vax injury. I can understand that. He's still terrible at pinning people against the wall. Jimmy was and still is a staunch lib. Suddenly the right loves him after his vax statement. See what I'm saying? Like, this is who y'all be. Y'all bringing liberals over to y'all side? I can't trust y'all opinions, yo. Where's the guy in this? He said, nah, it was a 45-minute interview. You're only showing 1 minute. I go watch the whole interview. I'm sure it's not going to change my mind. I'm almost certain it's not going to change my mind. Because from those few clips, if you couldn't pin him in 60 seconds on Joe Biden being more of a threat to black people than Trump, then you didn't do it. You can't do it in 45 minutes. That's an easy debate. It's easy debate. Who said that? Who said he lit him up? Who was that? I'm about to put you on timeout, yo. Yo, I'm gonna take some calls. Cannon, call in. Let me talk to Cannon, yo. Let's talk to Cannon. Hotly disappointed in y'all, yo. And you really think I'm gonna sit there and watch 45 minutes of them argue? It's not a good use of my time, I'm trying to tell you. It's not a good use of my time. It's not a good use of your time either. I'm surprised y'all watched all 45 minutes of that. I mean, unless you're bored, you're like driving or something like that. I can understand that. Because I've listened to some conversations I ordinarily would not listen to if I was like taking a long trip or something like that, or I'm like, 20-minute ride to go pick up a tuxedo for Fox or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll listen to some dumb shit. Cannon, what up, yo?
What's up?
What's good, bro?
First off, let me start off by saying on this day, two of the realest niggas in the Hotep community was born. Shout out to me and Black Mountain Hotep.
Oh, it's your birthday too?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday, Cannon Hotep. Let's get some birthday cakes in the chat. That's what's up, man.
Black Hotep, he was Black Hotep was in town with his family last year. And he was like, yeah, I'm going up, what's the name for my birthday? I was like, when's your birthday? He said, the 7th. I said, damn, my birthday tomorrow too.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, right. But man, I keep telling people, yo, Vivek, he a Trojan horse. He's Matt Damon's character in The Departed. He's made to infiltrate and change stuff from the inside for the other side. That's what I think. Like, he says all the right stuff. He say everything he's supposed to say. He say everything to get everybody on his side. Like, you even got your boy Brandon Tate, and he doing video after video after video about Vic now. You know what I mean? Like, that's
because that's a key word you want to hammer down on for the clicks.
Yeah,
that's why I'm doing it. I could have made today's stream about anything. I chose the shit that everybody fucking wants to get clicks on, just so when they click through, they can get hear the fucking truth.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, he gonna do a heel turn if he get it. That's how I see it. I still don't trust him. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, y'all drifted last night off of the Tucker shit.
I seen you. We gonna have to do some side quests for that shit.
Hey, I had 150 people in the Rumble chat, in the Rumble stream, but
I know you did.
The thing is, I just want to, like, I was telling people, I said, I don't care what Obama doing. Now, it don't matter. He already been president, right? He already done did his term. I said, I want to see if what comes of it, if anything comes of it. I want to see if they're right. I want to know if he was smoking crack while he was getting slurped off pause, right? I'm interested to see why they're doing it, because I feel like they're outing Obama on purpose. I feel like they out him on purpose, and I think the reason why they out him is I think they want Michelle to run for president, and they're going to use that. I don't
think this has anything to do with Obama. I think this has everything to do with destroying the left's power. Remember, the powers that be are all about a balance of power, and it seems like the left has gotten too big, and I think this is about balancing out the powers. The pendulum shifts back and forth, so it might be the right turn this time around.
I ain't look at it like that. I looked at it like, because I saw it was a article a few weeks back from The Guardian, I think it was, where they said Michelle Obama may be America's next president of the United States, although she's been saying she don't want to do it. So I'm like, this might be one of those like, throw this out there and put her on notice that she might have to jump in the race, against her will, and that they would use something like something like as humiliating as this to garner all of the attention for her, or garner support for her. Because could you imagine that, and all of the women that start gas cleaning her, and she's so bold and stunning, and she's standing by her husband and his truth, all this other BS, and next thing you know, they done grifted her right back into the White House. Because who does the left have to beat Trump? They don't have nobody. They have nobody that can beat them head up.
Correct.
Only way you can do that is through the court of public opinion, and using her name to beat them, because they have nobody. They can't use RFK because they want to get him out of the paint too. Gavin Newsom, I think they want him for 2028. So it's like, who do they got now? Are they just going to forfeit 2024? And give it to the GOP, or do they put her in the race? Hopefully she wins, and if she don't, their contingency is Vivek getting in there and infiltrating the White House for them.
Yeah.
So that's how I looked at it.
So the thing is, you got to check out this book. It's called Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. I got it up on the screen now. It says this book covers the period of roughly 1880 to 1963 and is multidisciplinary. And that's what I like about the book, because it covers so many different things. In nature, though perhaps focusing on economic problems brought about by the First World War and the impact these had on subsequent events. While global in scope, the book focuses on Western civilization. And you see it says right here, the book is written based upon archive files from the Council on Foreign Relations. So If you've never read this book, you could never see the balance of power being played out in modern politics between the left and the right, the red and the blue in America. You will think that these are two distinct parties, and they are two distinct parties. However, there is somebody at the top or groups of people at the top that are able to swing the pendulum anytime they feel like.
So yeah, definitely, I agree with that. I mean, Bill Cooper talked about that, you know, with CFR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those other groups under that umbrella. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that. Tragedy and Hope it's called.
Yeah, Tragedy and Hope. It's a really fucking big ass book, but it's really fucking good.
Let me find out some War and Peace shit.
Yeah, it's some War and Peace shit.
No worry, but yeah. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be a really interesting election. Now they talking about they got another indictment for Trump.
Oh, they got another one?
Yeah, that's what I heard last night. There's another one coming through. I think AK said something about it last night. But like, yeah, apparently there's another one. I'm like, man, I don't know, yo. Like, if they can't get him out of the paint, yo, they might pull a JFK on him. I don't know, bro. It's like right now it's a war of attrition. Like the government got nothing but time and resources, but Trump got resources and time, but he just don't got as much resources as the government got. But can he withstand that barrage? And if he can, what do they do at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean,
the indictments are to slow him down and to take him off his game and to dwindle his resources so he can't run an effective race.
My apprehension is I just don't like talking death onto people. You know what I mean? That's why I really don't want to weigh in on the whole. You know, Tucker said it, and when I saw Tucker said it, that shit gave me the chills. You know, and
yeah, I did see him say
I really
that.
don't want to. I don't want to talk on it. You know, I mean, I'll listen to other people talk about it, but for me, I do not want to say it will or will not happen either way. I just don't want to talk on death.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the fact that I'm just like, it's crazy. Like, I never seen them go out of their way to go to these lengths. It's like desperate now. They just throwing Hail Mary after Hail Mary after Hail Mary now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, free Trump.
but anyway, I ain't gonna hold you up. Free Trump. Shout out to Black Mountain Hotep. Happy birthday, bro.
Yes, sir.
Hotep Bill.
All right, Hotep Bill. Happy birthday to Cannon. Who else is in here? Wholesome white woman had to take a conference call, so she can't call in. Rudy, call in. Let's get Rudy in. Rudy punched y'all super sharp yesterday. Oh, man. You know, let me not say that. This is a good book, though. This is a really, really, really good book. I think Hillary Clinton said this is one of her top favorites. Not that that should be a selling point, but it should tell you something. The fact that she says this is one of her favorite books, or was it Bill Clinton? I forget who it was, but this is a, you know, if you're on the timeline talking politics and you never read this book, you're just unqualified to talk politics. This is one of those books where it's kind of like saying, it's kind of like trying to talk about economics, but you never read Wealth of Nations. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those types of things. Yo, Rudy, what up, baby?
What's good, my brother? How you doing today, man?
Life is good. How you doing, man?
Life is blessed. Hey, listen, get ready to strap them koofies on tight, man.
Okay.
Well, I'm 100% with you, man. I'm not watching, and you know me, I've always been on Team Tucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't watching this Dave Portnoy interview because I don't care what a Boston liberal has to say. And I ain't watching no interview because I don't give a fuck about, like you and Goldstein says, some dick-sucking punk blowing Obama. There's absolutely no news.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little bit different on why it happened.
Okay.
Because you have Victoria Nuland, Susan Rice, Javier Becerra, Alejandro Mayorkas. Everybody in Biden's cabinet was in Obama's cabinet. Biden has shown he's a meat puppet, rotten bag of oatmeal, man. He has no clue of where the hell he is. So we all know who's pulling the strings, man. Whether he's directly involved or just got his minions running the show, this is the third Obama term, dude. So I think Tucker's just launching out a whole assault to expose the fact that everybody up and down that board, everybody in that administration is an Obama plant, man. And then he's just exposing the leader for what he really is. That's just my take. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, but I think that's why he did it. Number two, quick point. The Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth, man. It's just a guide to get in touch with the Creator, man. It's just a way to enlighten yourself. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Anything else, all these people that argue this and argue that, well, black people wrote it. White people, they're taken away from what the message is, man. It's trying to tune you with the Creator, right? And third off, if anybody who's, in the white category, who doesn't think that the best seafaring people in the world of ancient times were the Africans and the Vikings. And now we all will admit that the Vikings got here before Christopher Columbus. So why is it so fucking hard for you to give the Africans props for maybe sailing over here too, when they were both the best seafaring civilizations of ancient times?
It's that simple.
So get your head out of your own ass, man. If the mainstream media is Operation Mockingbird, if you fucking see what the indoctrination process has turned to with the sexual stuff that they teach the kids, if you don't think we were indoctrinated in school just on some different shit, you're fucking losing your mind, man.
Yep.
Get out of your own way, open your mind, open your third eye, and life will be better, man. Happy birthday to Cannon. Happy birthday to Strong Dad. And one last point, man. I got no love lost for Eric Adams and the people of New York. No love lost, man. No love lost. When he says New York can't handle this, New York, well, what are small towns in Texas supposed to handle it? What is it, just Texas and Arizona? And New Mexico? Are they the only people that are supposed to wear it? It's your party policy. The head of your party and all his fucking minions, all Obama's minions, they're making these calls, right? So you know who to call to talk to stop it. And you're talking about these are the smartest people and da-da-da-da-da. Dude, they're all a bunch of dumb smart people, man, because you asked for it, man. You voted for it. You asked for it. You made yourself a sanctuary city. Now deal with your fucking repercussions. And I feel sad for the average New Yorker who they fucking take half of your fucking money already and they piss it away. I feel bad for them, but y'all got to change your voting patterns, man, and open up your fucking third eyes, man. Rudy the Vet out, in and out like yesterday, Hotep and Bill, brother.
That's how it's done. Why can't y'all be like Rudy? Hotep Sharp call in, and AUE call in. Hold on, I'm looking at my stock portfolio. Hold on a second. Usually the first of the month I pay myself, so I put my money into my stocks. And I just got an alert here from one of the stocks that says it's up 5% today. Is it earnings call or something? When is earnings? I'm up 56% on this stock. This is where I kind of diverge from the crypto heads. Like the crypto heads, they chase all these gains from these things, and some guys do really well, but I'm not a trader. I'll just sit back and collect my 100% 10 years from now. I have no problem with that. My money's got to be working. Who is this?
Call from.
Yo.
Yo, what's up?
What up?
I was calling to say that white people were in Florida around the time that black people were in Ireland and everything. Look up the Wendover burial site 7,000 years ago.
Hold on. Window what?
Wendover.
Okay.
One word. Wendover, Florida.
Okay. What about it?
It's a European-style burial site found in Florida, dated back about 7,000 years ago.
Wendover Archaeological Site is a Middle Archaic 6,000 to 5,000 BC archaeological site. United States, Central Coast, Muck Pond.
DNA from the brain tissue has been sequenced. Collection of human skeletal remains and artifacts recovered represent the largest finds of each type of archaic period. It is considered one of the most important archaeological excavations. Okay, so what is the you're saying that white people were in Florida. These are definitively white people?
Well, European style. But the only people that have done bog burials of that style are like Northern Europeans and whatnot. Very rare outside.
Now, what about the fact that the ancient Europeans was black?
I mean, so far all the evidence points like around 8,000 years ago or whatever. There were black people in like England and Ireland, whatnot. But at that time, white people were in America, which I don't know the full story. That was interesting.
It says here, the DNA indicated. Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly, because I don't want to tell you you're wrong when you're right. In 1984, archaeologists discovered that brain tissue had survived in many of the skulls. Lumps of greasy brownish material were found, suspecting it was brain tissue. Researchers sent the intact skulls for X-ray, CAT scans, and magnetic resonance imaging, which show recognizable brain structures. In addition, okay, so they're talking about what happened, right? And it says the DNA indicated Asian origin, similar to that of the 4 other major haplogroups of Native American peoples, or relatively rare haplogroup X. The DNA indicated that one family had used this gravesite for over a century. So it's saying Asian folk. It ain't saying white folk, but this is Wikipedia, so maybe you're right and I'm wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at Wikipedia for mine.
All right, I need a
and
source.
And if you can find burial sites.
I need a
source. I don't have one off the top of my head.
No, I mean, just take your time and get one. It doesn't have to be today. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be now. Okay. Come back next week. I got no problem. Again, I'm not here to deal in racial superiority. I'm here to deal in facts.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just like the history.
I love the history.
I don't think anyone's better than others.
You know, and I feel like Leif Erikson and the Vikings are some white people that have been done wrong and do not get their just due in white history.
That's another thing. St. Brendan the Navigator from Ireland came to the Americas before Leif Erikson.
Oh, okay. I like that. See? What's his name?
Yeah. The Gingers were there.
What's his name?
St. Brendan the Navigator.
St. Brendan the Navigator. There you go. I see him. Brendan the Navigator. 12 Apostles of Ireland. This is good stuff. 484, 577
and the Irish exodus
AD.
to America. First of it.
Yeah, it's just so weird when people act like nobody knew about the West. And I'm like, bro, like, people knew. This shit is documented. It's on maps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, bro.
A lot of race history. Oh, yeah, welcome.
All right.
What shows?
Yeah, hell yeah. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill.
It's good information right there. Good information. Fresh Mike, what up, bro? Fresh Mike calling, man. See what Mike got to say. Then we gonna get out of here. Depending on how much time he takes up. So Wealth of Nations is very interesting. You see here it says it's his magnum opus, Mr. Adam Smith, fundamental classical works. But it says here it influenced several authors and economists such as Karl Marx, right, as well as governments and organizations. Alexander Hamilton was influenced in part by Wealth of Nations. So Wealth of Nations is a very ancient document, and it's a must read, man. Like, this is something like you gotta read. In fact, I couldn't write my book.
Call from
Mike.
I couldn't write my book, The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War, without reading Wealth of Nations. I had to spend time reading Wealth of Nations. It's just one of those things you got to do. Mike, what up, bro?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Hotep. Shout out to the Hotep Nation, man. And shout out to Goldstein going deep in the chat, man. We were just talking about how Africans had flying machines, which was really cool. And
oh, shit.
he knows a little bit different. I was approaching it from the Vimanas is what the Indian archaeologists who discovered this stuff in the ancient temples in Cairo, they have the documents of like straight up flying machines and stuff. So anybody thinking Africans came here just on boats and didn't fly here first, just look up your history. So, yeah.
Hotep brother.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, just Vimanas. It's supposed to just look up Vimanas. And, and then there were the secret, I think it was the Secret 9 or the Secret 7. And they were Egyptian and African, some of them, and Indian as well. So anyway, and then they wrote all about anti-gravity and how to fly, basically, back in the, forgot the name of the times, back in the Pharaoh times. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Absolutely.
I'm an intellectual. So, man, I just got a couple of quick things, man. One thing I wanted to touch on that I've been really thinking about is the, and I asked in the chat, kind of froze the chat. But what I worry about on this CBDC thing, man, is, I kind of mentioned it, but how do we know we're not on CBDC already, right? Because because the little digital app on my phone says USD on it, right? And because, the money that they say is digitally in this bank or that I can use, this number I can use to trade with Amazon to get these goods and services into my home, the title of it is USD, so I feel good about it. But if it changes to CBDC, right? But aren't they kind of installing it? One thing I've learned, man, I'll be very brief, I'm sorry, is habit. You want to sell something to someone, you have to, people hate disrupting their habit. That's the whole key, right? They don't want, that's why you buy a bunch of cars, because you don't want to have to change to walking or public transportation or whatever. And that's the thing. People are so used to using their phones to pay for things, or you log in and all your money is on a computer screen and a number, and it says this is your money, and then it says it's in USD, right? And that's just the concern, is we wake up one day and it's just CBDC. And then what do we do? Do we say no? You know what I mean? Like, how do we figure that out would be, and I just wanted to present that to you because I'm very interested, knowing that the government already tracks all of our banking movements. I feel like it'd be real easy for them to just switch that over. And I'm wondering, I don't have any answers. I'm not trying to fight nobody, man. It's just a thought that I've had that's concerning me.
No, it's a valid thought. It's a valid thought. I'm just sending a friend money right now. They want to put their son in school or some shit like that. So
you can send me money, man. Why you feeling, generous?
Probably not going to do that, Mike. Sorry.
Fair. Man, you give us so much free content. Like, I wish people really knew the value of the content every day you're giving, man. It is valuable content, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro. I mean, to answer your question, we are dealing in digital currency now, right? And a lot of that is to train the behavior so that when the CBDC comes about, there won't be much change in the behavior. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not going to be much change in behavior. And I said this before, and I'll say it again, the QR code during the pandemic was partly to teach people how to use the QR code, because the CBDC is going to function partly with QR code purchases. It's just how it's going to work. We're even seeing them test that shit out in China and I believe India as well. So I don't think we're on the CBDC yet, but technically, when you listen to Jag speak about this, Jag from Syscoin, he says technically we do have a CBDC. It's called USDC, United States Digital Coins. Let me just bring that up on the screen. Maybe we can talk about that, because I've never actually looked it up. Okay, so this is Circle. Circle runs this. Is this true? It's managed by a consortium called Center, which is founded by Circle, includes member of the cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase and the mining company Bitmain. So I have to look and see who runs Circle. I just
what's funny? You know the name of Elon's money trading company, right?
What?
Square.
No, that's not Elon. That's Jack.
Square? I thought Elon was a part owner of Square. And an investor and original founder of Square. My bad.
Am I getting that wrong? I thought that was Jack Dorsey.
No, Square was around before it was integrated with Twitter.
Formerly, Square Inc. is an American multinational technology conglomerate
founded in 2009 by Jack Dorsey and Jim McIlvey. So maybe Elon is on the, he might be a board or an investor, but Jack Dorsey is the current CEO and founder of Square.
Okay.
That's Jack
That's
Dorsey.
why it's evil. No, I'm just.
Yeah. Now it's funny we talking about this because I just saw a circle right here. Yeah, this is the article I read today. I was going to bring this up in our CBDC discussion, but I thought it might be too technical. But it's another one too. This article is another one. It says Circle recommends tweaks to EU's proposed crypto guidelines. So this is all about regulation. This actually doesn't have much to do with CBDC directly, but it is indirectly. But as you can see, Circle is involved in regulation. Obviously, they'd want to be. They have an interest in that. They should be, actually. But there was another story I read where, oh no, that was probably a different company. Now I'm thinking of, oh no, this is it. Wait. Here it is. No, I was right. This is it. It was Circle. Visa's broadened stablecoin settlement reach with Circle's USDC by tapping Solana. So I think Circle didn't win this, and I think Solana won this contract. That was what happened with Circle. That's why I saw Circle in the headlines. But yeah, Jag says, this USDC is kind of like a CBDC. It's a stable coin. It's USD. It's good as USD. It's 1-to-1. It's pegged. So, but now we're not in the CBD system yet because the money's just not programmable.
Okay. Yeah. That's important. See how you just said that off the top of your head, like no big deal, and I'm like, whoa, wait, money's not programmable. That's how we know. Like that's a huge, linchpin right there, man. That's that's a huge argument, and a good way to understand kind of how to, for lack of a better term, fight the current.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I have one more question for you that I'm just dying to know, and that is because if you look at your boy Jeremy in the quartering, you look at a lot of guys in your space that know and love you. One of the main reasons, and in fact, Jeremy said this word for word, the whole reason he's on the Vivek train is because Vivek is anti-war. And I'm just wondering how you feel this anti-war grift works into the whole thing, because I see it on the other end, forcing Russia to deal with China to set up, all kinds of stuff and that kind of thing. But as far as, Vivek's using it and getting voters over it. And, I'm just wondering your thoughts on that and kind of your take, because I know we don't talk about that a lot here. So just kind of your idea and take. And I'll take that off the air. Hotep and Bill.
Let's tackle that. Let's tackle that while I let's go. I'm just going to pull this up on the screen. So this here says Trump announces strikes on Syria following suspected chemical weapons attack by Assad forces. Right. So this was basically, this is George Bush in Iraq, right? Oh, they have weapons of mass destruction. We got to go bomb them, right? Now, when it comes to being anti-war, right? Somebody says, oh, they're anti-war. This is not something that's inside of the president's control. And again, this is why you got to read Tragedy and Hope. This is not something that is under the president's control. On paper, this is under the president's control. But that paper don't really mean shit when you got money and guns pointed at your head. You see what I'm saying?
Right, you have the House and the Senate and everybody they're bought and paid for.
They're bought and paid for. They're bought and paid for. Yeah. I'm talking about above. Yeah, here we go. Now we're getting closer. So you got Raytheon and all these different people who have interest in war, right? Boeing, DARPA, all these different companies, right?
BlackRock. BlackRock. That's a whole other thing.
All these different people that have a financial interest. In my book, The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War is the name of the title of my book. You can get that on my website. Those two things are never uncoupled throughout history. And I show you in the book, throughout history, those two things are never uncoupled, okay? So where you follow the money, you're going to have war. So when somebody like the Quartering says,
I'm on the Vivek train because he's anti-war. Really what he's saying is Vivek's going to get me clicks. He's popular. I can ride this Vivek wave, and I have a good reason to do so, which is anti-war. Now, I believe Jeremy's grifting. I've had Jeremy on his channel. He's cool. He's nominated for a grifty.
Yeah.
We joke. This is not hate speech, right? This is just criticism. Either that or Jeremy's just fucking naive, right? I don't think he's naive. I think Jeremy's sharp as a tack.
He loves you, by the way. He loves you. Speaks very highly of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love Jeremy. I appreciate him. He came on my channel. We had a great discussion. But I also know this business of news and being a news analyst is about positioning, who you position yourself with and your network. And it's a very intelligent move as a news analyst or a news grifter to position yourself next to one of the popular candidates. We didn't do that. We went to Doug, right? Doug was the least looked at guy, right?
Go Doug, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're looking at shit like as it is, and everybody's looking at it from a grifty standpoint.
Just real fast, how refreshing was it that everywhere else in the world it was DeSantis, Vivek, and the lady, and that was it. And then we get to tune into the Grift Report. You're like, let's talk about Doug. It's like, oh, thank God somebody's talking. It was cool, man. Yeah.
You know, for me, I'm stupid to a certain extent because when I watched the debate, I told myself I was going to live tweet it. And after the first round was over and they cut to commercial, I said I had Doug winning. And everybody was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was crickets. I didn't get no engagement. Right? So I was like, wait, are we watching the same debate? Maybe I got the wrong channel.
I understand, man. I was like, oh, I done stepped in it. That was not what I was trying to do at all.
Because when I typed the tweet, I thought it was gonna be, Hotep gets it. Yeah, I thought I had a viral tweet, but it was crickets, and I'm like, wait, y'all not watching Doug? He the only one that's saying something. The rest of them is grifting. But again, people want to hear the talking points. Those are the things that perk up. They're not hearing for the context and. So, yeah, I don't know. So, I understand why everybody has a vested interest in Vivek. I have a vested interest in Vivek. I am going to brand myself as the Vivek hater. Remember I told you, part of being a news analyst is how you position yourself, right? And who you grift off of. The difference between me and everybody else is I'm an honest grifter. So I'm telling people I am going to, how many streams have I done on Vivek? And I don't like the guy, but I'm going to get my clicks off of him. He owe me that for being a fucking shyster. You see what I'm saying? So
it's the least he can do.
It's the least he can do is let me grift off of him. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I stand on that.
Man. After really paying attention to things with my third eye and seeing things kind of through a Hotep viewpoint, man, it's like, oh man, do you understand? About a year ago, before I got into you, I would be so hard on the Vivek train. I would be. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'd be like, go Vivek. That's the young, smarter Trump, and that's what we need, and whoop, whoop. Yeah, no, and now I'm like, man, go Doug, I'm about to write his name in, but I'm doing it, damn it. So.
Absolutely.
All right, man, Hotep and Bill, thank you, sir. Hotep is for the children.
Yes, sir, Hotep and Bill. And, that's the thing, like, when I was talking about Trump, people were talking about Trump, and then they came around, they said, look, Trump's bombing Syria. He was so anti-war. And I'm like, you thought Trump was going to be able to stop that? You thought Trump was going to stop the military-industrial complex? You think any president is going to put his life on the line to stop the military-industrial complex? Do you really believe that? Nobody's actually even capable of doing that. It's not something you're able to do. And again, this is why people got to read Tragedy and Hope. I want to read it a second time. Just so I can have, be refreshed, because I haven't read it in several years since I did the research for my book. But y'all really think, like, And this is the shit you're not supposed to say. Like the shit I'm saying right now, you're not supposed to say. Because it sounds, everybody's saying, oh, Hotep Jesus, talking about he's a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat, and Alex Jones. And I'm like, Hillary Clinton read this book. She understands these facts. She understands what's in the control of a president or diplomats. Some of y'all ain't did y'all research. So when Trump bombed Syria, I wasn't mad at Trump. I wasn't mad at him. Because I know that shit is above his motherfucking head. Y'all know what today is. Today is Hotep Thursday. Shout out to our producers, Jabari, Jason and Jason, Trish, Leah, Taylor, whole crew. But today is, do y'all know what today is? Today is Hotep Thursday.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
We're going to be back today. You're really going to trip when you see the engraving on the temple of Seti at Abydos. Oh, boy. See, Goldstein just be jogging my memory and shit and pulling shit out that I haven't read in a long time. Curious being on YouTube amongst Vermont trying to read the way I don't know. But yeah, I haven't gone into my ancient Egyptian studies in a long time. I'm more concerned about learning the language. I don't really care about arguing, oh, these people was white, these people was black. Nah, teach me something. I want to learn something. I want to learn the language and, I want to learn. I don't want to fucking argue about who was black and who was white. Jabari Judy said, Mike is on point. You can't be against CBDC if you're using Google Pay, Apple Pay, Cash App, Venmo. They already got you using that system. Yeah, it's a bridge. It's a bridge. I'm not really a Apple guy, Apple Pay guy. I'm definitely a Cash App and Venmo guy. They got Zelle too. But all that shit's going under Fed now. And yeah, you're sort of trained to use the CBDC. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna tell you right now so you don't call me a hypocrite later. When the government drops $1,200 in that CBDC account, I'm gonna open up my wallet.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Mama ain't raised no fool. I don't turn out free money. And I'm going to be using the CBDC. Now, why? You're going to say, why would you do that, Hotep Jesus? What are you talking about? Oh, my God, you're going to use the CBDC? First of all, by the time the CBDC is rolled out, it's too late. It's way too late. It's like to say you're not going to use the CBDC is like saying you are no longer going to live in America. You can leave America and go use somebody else's CBDC, right? Or you can go complete DeFi, bro. I'll probably be a DeFi bro at some point. I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be partly DeFi and partly CBDC. But I'm definitely going to be a DeFi degen. But coming back to the point of the matter, if you don't want to use the CBDC, you might as well stop using the dollar right now. Coming from the same corrupt system. But I think the only thing that's going to stop the CBDC is legislation, and everybody's fast asleep on that. There's nobody really pushing for legislation, not federally. I mean, shout out to DeSantis. He did it in Florida. Nobody really talked about it that much. Nobody really understood what he was doing. Let's look at the two things. This is the last thing I'm going to say, then I'm going to go. Let's look at the two things that DeSantis banned. Critical race theory and the CBDC. Which one of these is most important? Obviously the CBDC. Which one did people argue about for months? This is what happens when you don't have an intellectual society. And I think this is something that, was it Aristotle or Socrates told Alexander the Great? He said, if you want to stay in control of the people, do not educate them. Because Alexander the Great wanted to educate the people. And I think the philosopher teacher was like, yo, that's a bad idea. You don't want to educate them because then they're going to be harder to control. So because people are just super ignorant of this stuff, they're going to be easy to control. So in order to stop the CBDC, that's something that Congress has to do. And there's just not very many senators. I don't even know if Josh Hawley is on top of this. But, it's something you have to call your senator about and say, yo, we don't want a CBDC. And your senator's going to be like, what the fuck is a CBDC? I don't know what the fuck that is. It's like William Jennings Bryan. William Jennings Bryan is assistant secretary in the White House under Woodrow Wilson. Motherfucker resigned. They were doing all types of stuff with financial policy. And he admitted it. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. He admitted it. It's in my book. He don't know what they're talking about. William James Bryan. I thought he was a national hero. People call him a coward because he quit his job. I thought he was a hero because who would want to deal with that bullshit? But again, they don't know what the fuck this shit is. So they're not educated on it. They don't know the fears of it. And of course, they're bought and paid for. So, I mean, who's really going to rally to say no to CBDC? If we really wanted to put a rally together to say no to the CBDC, it's kind of like when black people say we need Jay-Z to speak up for us, right? It's like we're going to need the Jay-Z of black people would be like, I don't know, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, right? Tucker's like the Diddy. No, Tucker's like the 50 Cent of white people. Tucker's now the 50 Cent of white people. Who else? Who else is like the biggest? Tim Cass. We need Tim Pool on this. We need Joe Rogan on this. You know? It would need to be a massive push from our talking heads, and they're not talking about that. They're talking about Obama's dick. Can I get Ann Coulter on here and interview her? All right. I'm going to tell Taylor. Let me see if Taylor can get it. I got Chrissy Mayer coming on. Can you get Ann Coulter? And if he needs me to reach out to her directly, because I think we follow each other, so. Yeah, who's the Jay-Z of white people? Like, who are the, who's for white people is like y'all best talking heads that could really like publicly lobby to say no to the CBDC? It's not gonna happen. I'm very black-pilled on us doing something. This is what it is, you know. Machiavelli and Carlson. Talking to Tupac of white people? Nah, he not the Tupac. He the 50 Cent. He the 50 Cent of white people. Jimmy Dore. Y'all be watching liberals argue, yo? Y'all kill me, yo. Y'all kill me. I'm just trying to understand y'all. That's all. I'm just trying to understand y'all. That's all. You know what y'all need? I know exactly what the problem is. I know exactly what the problem is. You know what y'all need? Can anybody in the chat tell me what y'all need? Give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Master focus.
Hotep, you're a genius. Hotep Jesus.com.
Yeah, I need some master focus, man. Yeah, I need to get focused, man. 360 degree approach to brain health, memory amplifiers, brain builders for brain restoration, to promote neurogenesis. That's the creation of brain cells. Some of you motherfuckers' brain cells is dying. Take some master focus and, you know what I mean? Let's create some new ones. So we're talking about neurogenesis, energy boosters, mood enhancers, and of course, gut health, the second brain. Ask Dr. Shiva. A lot of y'all in the chat like Dr. Shiva. Ask him about the gut and the second brain, the enteric nervous system. Shout out to our Chief Science Officer, Tanai Ricks. That QR code you see on the screen right there, yeah, that'll apply the discounts, about half off. There's a link in the description box that'll take you to the coupon code, which is Grift Report. It's automatically applied at discount if you use the QR code or the link in the description box. If you want to type in the coupon code, it's Grift Report, and you'll see it right there when you go to checkout. You won't see it in your cart, but you'll see it at checkout. And stay tuned. Tonight at 8 p.m., our premiere show on this channel. Hotep's been told you, Uncle Hotep. We taking Uncle Hotep to court tonight for all types of pause violations. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see y'all later. Hotep and Bill.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.